for Disc Jockey News Television, and I am here and honored to be with my special guest, Mr. Ben Stowe.
Thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it a lot.
NLFXpro.com.
It's a bottle of shirt. Here we go. Get the camera.
And in your finest plaid today.
Hey, this is the Minnesota uniform right here. So
that's it.
I didn't have to tell anybody where I was from. They just knew. So,
well, welcome to Boston again.
Thank you.
Unseasonably warm again, as it was last year.
I'm loving it.
Would you say it was during your speech? You said it was -5 when you left.
-5. So. Been walking around basically dressed like this in Boston, and of course, the locals look at me like I'm a weirdo, but I'm loving it. So.
Yeah, it's the heat wave. It's the way you go where you want to go someplace warm. You come to Boston in December.
Yeah, it's not exactly on my tropical vacation hotspot.
We tell everyone, don't get used to it. It's not going to. One day it'll just flip, and we'll be right there with you. So you've been in since Sunday.
I would love to tell you what day I got in, but I was out doing sound for some national acts, tour acts. So I honestly don't even know what day today is.
Okay.
That's kind of what happens. Anybody who's just toured knows the life on the road where you just kind of go, gosh, what day is today? I don't know. So.
Well, today is today, and we're a day past the speaker shootout. So we wanted to just compliment you and say thank you for assisting and great job being instrumental on the setup and execution of collecting all the pink noise the day early.
It went really smooth. We had a good crew this year. I mean, a huge shout out to Lou Harris, one of the smartest, most organized guys I know. He really carried the mail on that. I think the critical things for me was that I wanted to make sure that the results were fair. That the data was accurate and meaningful, that we, presented everything on an equitable plane. There was no bias. I don't work for any of the loudspeaker companies. I don't get a toaster oven if I sell more of one brand as opposed to the other. I work for the customer. So I wanted to make sure that, people who are going to go spend their hard-earned money on speakers were able to do so with an equitable data set and a fair representation across brands. So
okay. Well, first and foremost, the data that was collected with doing the noise test, did anything jump out as being not quite what it was put on paper, or did you find everything to be pretty true across? Or are you not allowed to say?
Oh no, I'm allowed to say. Like I said, I don't work for anybody. Look, if they don't like what I have to say, they should have built a better speaker. But that's on them. That's not on me. But to answer your question, I would need additional data. I have not compared to anybody's published specs, so I can say that certain things jumped out from the measurements, but I couldn't say that it jumped out because it varied because anything that was published, because I haven't looked at the published specs. Okay. And with over 60 loudspeakers that we tested, I think that would be a Herculean task. So not my job to verify their specs. But as a good friend of mine who works for a loudspeaker manufacturer said that if people lied on spec sheets, if that was a crime, if it was a crime to lie on spec sheets, there'd be a lot of people in jail. So
okay. Right. So best case scenarios. I know you tuned everything to 94 dB, and right off the bat you can tell. Some speakers just get there, and some you have to push a little harder to get there. And
there's a lot of variation on the input circuitry and the output circuitry that's involved in these. And we felt that 94 dBA at a 10-foot measurement was a really good representation of a dance floor level. We wanted to kind of see where everybody was at, but we also wanted to make sure that every speaker was being heard at the same level, because if this one is artificially quiet, or this one is artificially louder, they're going to sound different, and somebody might say, well, this sounds better, or this sounds better, and that's not really a fair representation of what they're going to do in the same set of scenario.
Sure.
So again, it was about just trying to create an equitable and clear playing field there.
Yeah, equal playing field, and the size of the room.
Yeah,
equal. All things being equal.
My brain's a little bit mush right about now. 60 loudspeakers and measurements. We are going to publish the ASCII data. We're going to publish screenshots of the on and off axis measurements, so directly facing the loudspeaker, and then also for our columns at 100 degrees off axis, and for our point source at 90 degrees off axis.
Okay. I know you tested full-size subcabs, full-size tops, and then you had some array designs, which have greater spread just by design. They're meant to fill a larger area with less, and you see a lot more of the guys going to that style of speaker, to less to carry, quicker to set up. A little different, more elegant look. A rock concert's still going to need the big bass bins and the huge tops, but if you can get away. Yeah, if it's a cafe or a little store opening or something, you need something small out front that's quick and easy. That might be a direction that a lot of the guys are
Well, like I said, have the right reason for the gig. And I think you're going to see very plainly when you look at these measurements, and the way we're going to publish these RTA measurements is with the two measurements stacked. So the on and off axis stacked, so you can actually see the comparison. And one of the things that's really useful about that is you can look at the linearity of it. Does this speaker sound the same off axis as it does on axis? Mm-hmm. And some performed very, very well, and some did not. And then the data speaks for itself,
Okay. And having that information, of course, it's to the buyer to say that the information is out there if you want to look at it. But I mean, the best case scenario is that you would come and listen to them in person. Mm-hmm. As of Monday for the shootout section was actually music being played, which was, we got to hear some different types. They played a little bit of rock, a little bit of dance, a little bit of EDM. So you could hear certain brands with sharper sounds and some that had
no doubt
range. And
yeah, no doubt. There were, as we would change the program material, I would change my mind. On a certain song, I would say, well, I really like this speaker. And then we would play a different song and you say, now I like this speaker, and I think the voicing of the speakers has something to do with that. For me, that's one of the reasons the pink noise is so meaningful is the pink noise is, it's an equitable signal for everything. Mm-hmm. It's measuring the accuracy of the speaker. What we put in, what do we get out? But when you get away from pink noise and you get into music, it's very subjective, and now you're very opinion based. And ultimately, to your point, people who are buying the speaker are spending their money. They should pick the one that they like.
Right. And it'd be great to have the opportunity to be able to hear them all in one space, side by side by side. Whereas if you go to one particular dealer or vendor, they have all of one brand, or they might have two that you can play off. But to come here and see everything in front of you, to really make an educated decision and say, well, this is the type of music I play. This is what I'm going to.
And with the same signal at the same drive level, and that's very important. Even if you went to a dealer, and some dealers may have this capability. I don't know. I'm not knocking anybody, but I'm saying it. You may not get an accurate representation from this speaker to that speaker to this speaker. Gain structure might be different. The way the signal is routed might affect it. Mm-hmm. So that was something we took great care to make sure that every speaker was getting exactly the same signal.
Sure. Same wire, same length,
we took
everything,
every reasonable effort to make sure that what you heard was a fair representation of what that speaker actually would do.
Excellent. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to the results and seeing how that stacks up. I'm sure the manufacturers will all be tuning in, wondering how they did.
I've had a few ask me already. I've had a few, hey, can you send it to me early? Can we get a sneak peek? And I think that's meaningful too, right?
That shows they care. At least they want to know.
They want to know how they stacked up, and they want to win too, and they're going to take that back to their engineering departments, or maybe it's the engineers that contacted me. But yeah, the ones that have contacted me, I would definitely say are industry leaders too. Mm-hmm. The first ones who wanted to know. And I had another one, and I will not name names. That's just
okay.
The data speaks for itself.
Must keep some secrets.
Had another one who said, "Listen, we know where we are. We know where we stack up." He just, basically he was sort of conceding defeat. He's like, "Yeah, look, man, we know who we are."
Yeah. By the best you can afford, as they always say.
Pretty much, yeah. And I thought that actually was really meaningful to me, that they were not trying to be something they're not.
There you go.
He was like, "Look, man, we know what we make and we know who we are. We're a low cost speaker, and that's that."
Oh, sure. So. Now, with them being previously owned type speakers that maybe have some hours or years on them, even would that substantially affect the outcome of these results? Like, if these manufacturers wanted to come forth and bring you new product, would you get much different in the overall results, or these speakers being used, broken in, we'll say?
One would hope not. Certainly there's going to be some variation, but one would hope it's not significant. Certainly if some of these speakers were abused, if there was some pre-existing damage from improper use, or they were worn out,
or even servicing that they went in and maybe it isn't all OEM.
They all looked good, and I think there wasn't anything that jumped out at me where I said, "Wow, this is anomalous." I think it was probably a pretty fair representation. But sure, if the manufacturers wanted to bring them, I think that would be great.
Sure. It was a Facebook question, so I figured.
It's a good question.
Something from the fly, and just say, "Well, these are all used. How do you know the results?"
And I can tell you, there are some manufacturers who were anxious to put their stuff up against others, and some that didn't really want to do it. And again, I'm not going to name names, but you
gotta come here to find out. If you want the dirty details, you got to be
or message me and I'll tell you privately, but I'm not going to put it in writing, so I'm not going to put it on tape either.
Good. So how are things otherwise back at NLFX? How's the stock? And everyone has questions about being able to get goods and products as quickly in the turnaround time. Have you seen some improvements as the year's coming to a close?
Yeah, I think we are seeing some improvement in the supply chain. We have probably more inventory now than we've ever had at any point in our history. Our warehouse is getting well stocked. It doesn't mean that the thing that you want is going to be in stock. It seems like you always have the wrong stuff in stock, because you always want to fill every order. And certainly the chip shortage still exists, and some things are still being pushed back. But stock is definitely improving. And what we're doing to help others is we're allowing people to place reservation orders where you don't have any obligation to buy it.
Okay.
It's literally like placing an order without any money. And it just gets your place in the queue. And then when that product becomes available, we say, hey, John, this is in and it's ready to ship. Do you still want it? And you say, no, I don't need it anymore.
And if I don't, then someone else gobbles it up.
Absolutely. The next person on the list just gets moved up. I mean, and I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day, and he said, well, I'll order one when they're in stock. And I said, okay, you're probably going to be waiting till next August.
Okay.
Because the orders are being sold out before they're landing. So I say, we're getting a shipment next week. You're not getting any of them. And he goes, well, if it was in stock, I'd buy it. And I say, you don't understand how the world works right now. I can't tell somebody who reserved one that they can't have one because you want to wait till it's just sitting on the shelf.
So advice for the buyer would be to get in the queue if you're interested in getting something, get your name in the list, to at least have one with your name on it.
Yeah, there's literally no risk. There's literally no obligation. I'm sure some people say, well, I don't want to have to cancel it. It's okay. It's really okay.
It's not like you're not going to sell it.
No, heavens no.
There's a line of people, there's 50 people behind you that want it if you don't want it. That's one of those kind of deals.
That's really the case. There's a product that we are now taking orders for March delivery, and we're getting shipments every month, but those shipments are spoken for. We are selling it faster than the manufacturer can make it. And it doesn't mean that we're selling it all that great. It just means the supply is still struggling.
Okay.
It's not fixed. It's getting better.
Yep.
But it's not what it used to be.
No.
Stuff just isn't sitting on the shelf much. But it is getting better, and we do have things on hand. I know it sounds like I'm sort of saying double talk here.
No, I can understand the frustration when you're just trying to fulfill the orders and just say, just give me the product. If it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. So moral of the story, viewer, if we have it on hand, by all means, buy it, and we'll get it on the way to you. If we don't, chances are neither anybody else does. Neither does anybody else. Words is hard.
Yeah. Word.
But place a reservation. No risk, no obligation. You don't even have to give us your credit card number. None of that. We're not going to spam you. We're not gonna, this is quite literally just our attempt to try to help you navigate a really crappy situation.
Making the best.
Nobody's liking the supply chain right now. Not us, not you. We get it. So we're just trying to help.
As far as new things that you're starting to see coming in, obviously new production, new products that are coming, is anything you see that's coming across that's hot items right now? Anything that people are really, really interested in?
Well, the new Everse 8, and here again, everybody said, why is EV making a battery powered box? Everybody's had these for a long time, and EV's, response is we'd rather be best than first. And I think the sales on the Everse are indicative of the fact that people have been waiting for this box. They are selling incredibly well. And again, that's just a testimony to EV's engineering and EV, kind of looking and seeing what the market wants and letting others make those mistakes first and coming out with something that they think maybe better suits the market. There are some new lighting products in development I'm really excited about. I'm in some beta testing groups for some software. I can't say more. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But, I think the supply chain is still holding back a lot of the new things. I think even with NAM being moved to April, we're not going to see tons of new stuff yet.
Okay.
Might be a year or two off from seeing, a lot of new stuff, but we're certainly seeing new stuff. New controllers just dropped, from Rain and Denon, and, so stuff's coming.
Well, that's pretty good. Well, I think just the nature of the world and the fact that a lot of the parties went to smaller and outdoors and are in a lot more remote areas that the battery-powered speaker really took off. And there wasn't really an industry leader. They all kind of did the job and kind of didn't sound right and kind of didn't stay on for too long. And it's better. It's from all the product demonstrations I've seen on the Everse, it looks like this is one that might be around for a while for anyone that's in places without electricity where you're trying to make loud noise.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think that, people asked a lot about the speaker shootout, who's the winner? Well, there's no way to declare a winner because there's so many different categories and price points. But I think if we were to look at the battery class, I think the Everse definitely walked away with it. I don't think it was really a close race. And I say that thinking that probably 95% of the people here would agree with that assessment. It just... To me, I was like, wow, that really isn't close, So that one I'm sort of feel comfortable declaring,
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's selling so well.
It's really nothing in its class. Nothing that's I've heard.
No,
it
just kind of thumped everybody else. It was pretty wild to hear that difference. But again, sound is subjective, and I think there might be some that would disagree with me. But I was just really surprised. But I was like, wow, okay, all right, there you go, Evie. That's there you have it.
For sure. Absolutely. It'd be a kind of big to fit in a stocking, but it might work as a stocking, under stocking stuffer.
It'll fit down the chimney.
Sure. What do you have in stock for Christmas gifts? What are you thinking for? You still have the mother of all tester in stock?
We do still have the moats, the mother of all testers in stock. We've got. I almost let slip and told you about a new product we're working on.
Can't do that. We're going to edit that out in post.
It's one of our products. I'd really be in trouble. I'd be in trouble with our engineering team. But
news to follow on that one, folks. Tune back in when you can tell you.
A year out, unfortunately.
Oh boy. Right.
Supply chain, man. Look, I'm a nerd, and I'm friends with a lot of our viewers, and I just want to tell you right now. I wish I could, but unfortunately, our competitors are probably watching it too. So I gotta keep it.
So speakers, electronics, cabling, custom cables.
Yeah, and we're getting caught up on cables. Panels are still slow. We're doing. I hear we're doing better than some of the other custom panel builders, but still slow. A little bit of backlog with materials. But cables, we're starting to catch up on. We actually have cables on the shelf now for the first time in 18 months.
Wow.
It is mind blowing. At one point we could not get raw copper cable. We couldn't. Our cable is our cable. It's made specifically to our specifications for us and us exclusively, and we couldn't get it. And it's tough to make things when you can't get raw materials. So
for sure,
happy to say that's no longer the case. We've got tens of thousands of feet of raw cable on hand, and we've got finished assemblies that are being built up every day. And so put some of those in your stocking.
Yeah, cables. Everyone loves wires for Christmas.
Well, you can't really have too many, honestly. I mean, they don't take up a lot of room and. It costs a lot of money. Let's see, gaff tape.
Gaff tape. Yeah, you can never have enough gaff tape.
The gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, I guess what's a good gift really depends on who you are. I almost I'm no good at secrets.
No, you had that toolbox before, the one that had all the little gadgets and the adapters and stuff. The back to work box. That was another hot one. If you've still got those around,
no, that was a one done. That was a
retro present
coming out of the pandemic, and we're gonna get these out to people, and we haven't done any more since. Maybe in the future, but. We're trying to get other stuff out the door right now.
Sounds good. It sounds like things are improving over there. And again, that's nlfxpro.com. Yep. Ben Stowe, I thank you for taking a few minutes and spending a little bit of time. You're awesome, dude.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
You guys, if we have anything else coming from the Harvest of Sound 2022, watch for some more videos and stay tuned. Watch DJNTV Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights on YouTube. Thanks for watching.